Dementia residents often won't accept from family that they have dementia, but they will from each other, especially in a group situation. If they're all sitting together and your friend next door to you says, I can't remember who my husband is, and I can't remember when I was born. And if someone else says, and I can't remember who my children are, then chances are, once you start to hear these statements, then it could well be that you'll apply that to yourself, especially if you're forgetting where your room is or what you had for lunch. So in a dementia facility, it is important that residents do communicate with each other, because in this way they can see that they're not the only one, that others are experiencing the same thing, and that they can help guide and support each other through it. It's a really important aspect. And the other thing is that dementia residents know that they will each be only telling the truth to each other. There's no reason for them to do otherwise. So that's why they have that trust for other residents, because they know that they're not the ones to have put them in the place. They're there because their other families, they think, have admitted them, even though it's explained to them that it's the doctor that admits them to the dementia unit, and that needs to be repeated. But they will know that the people that they're living with are only going to be telling them what the situation is. So they will trust them and take that on board much more likely than family, who they might be thinking are just wanting them to, be put away somewhere for some reason. So once dementia residents start to accept the situation that they're in, difficult as it is, with support of the group, with support of friendships they make, it becomes a lot easier. And there was one particular very clear example that I'll give you where it really stood out for me, the importance of this group clarity and this group support. There was one particular resident at one unit I worked at, and she was bright, sharp, quick, big reader, good communicator, terrible memory. Anyway, we had 3 men come into the unit at this particular time, which was quite an occasion because men are the minority in dementia units. Excuse me. And I thought that it would be a good idea for these new male dementia residents to be introduced to the group. And I thought it would be a really good idea if they could be introduced by one of the residents rather than me. But I wondered if anyone was up to it. So I said to this particular lady, would you like to introduce the men, the new dementia residents, the 3 men, to the group? And she said yes. And she did a really good job of it. She'd been a former school teacher, but she was pretty bright and gregarious. She asked their name, their background, and she was all sort of very super friendly, and the men really enjoyed it. So did the residents, and we got to know about these 3 men. But the most interesting introduction that I found was with one particular gentleman. He had been a businessman and a jeweler and owned a shop in town, very dapper, very well dressed. And his son had come in denying that his father had dementia, even though the father was now in a dementia unit. I don't know how that worked. But anyway, actually the son removed the man from the dementia unit in time. But at this point, the man was admitted and in the facility. And he was halfway through the introduction with this woman. And he said, well, I do have a memory problem. And the interviewer, the woman, said, well, actually, I have a memory problem too. And then she said, and we all have a memory problem here. Now that was pivotal, because up till that point, she had been saying to everyone loud and clear, I don't have dementia. What? I haven't got a memory problem. But here she was with another lovely gentleman who had admitted he had a memory problem. And here she was admitting that she also had a memory problem. and explain that to the group. Now that is by far the better way. I should say it's very important that family can explain this to residents, but if there's resistance, this is the better way because it's more streamlined. There's less resistance. Residents are in the same situation. They're all in the same boat. They empathise with each other, going through all the challenges that dementia brings. So if they can get to the point of being able to communicate that to each other, it's very reassuring, very heartening, very warming, very confiding, and community building. They build good relationships based on this empathy, trust, and truth in dementia facilities. So it's a very powerful experience. So these experiences and stories are written up in these two books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, which I've written, both on Amazon and on my website, description below. So thank you for your viewing and your support and likes. Thank you.